It's a LEED building. It was built as a green alternative. It was supposed to be a business building to attract businesses there. That building has been vacant for at least 4 years, maybe longer than that. But we've got to think differently about economic development in our communities, and I want us to focus on how we can build indigenous businesses, i.e. businesses from the ground up, locally, who will hire locally. You got to have professional services. You got to have individuals who are going to engage in various businesses. Why take those businesses someplace else when you can locate them right here? Next way. I think this young lady over here was waiting, and I got you, and then here. Okay.
More of a comment than a question. First of all, thank you for explaining about the budget, how you try to pass the budget for the education bills. Because I've been on the local school council for 2 terms now, and only since last year we had to, always in the middle of the year, had to change the budget. Every time we got slashed, we had to change the budget. The principal would come to us and tell us, okay, you got to vote on this because we got to take this particular money that we were saving towards textbooks, computers, and any other thing, extra money that we have for the kids for the end of the year. We have to take this money and we have to put it towards payrolls for the teachers because we do not want to lay off or fire these particular teachers. Well, the 2 particular teachers we don't this year that we had to do was the fine arts teacher and the gym teacher, because otherwise if we had to slash the budget and not pay them, then we would have had to basically get rid of the fine arts and the gym class. And the only reason we mainly were able to do that is because we were in compliance and had the federal funds, and we used the federal funds to actually pay for that. And so that way, at the end of the year, now we don't have money for new computers or new textbooks for our kids or even school supplies. So that's our basic thing. So first of all, thank you for fighting for the kids. Absolutely. That's the main thing. Kudos to you. And other question I'm asking you, because you guys talked about this last year, is how close are you for like the federal has it per kid? Paying per kid, whereas the state has it per, I'm going to say district or per school. How close you guys are actually towards passing that particular budget, so that I'm going to say so it can be fairer towards all the public school kids.
Well, watch what you ask for, because per pupil funding means every pupil gets the same. And when you talk about, there's a difference between poor kids and poor kids can be treated differently. They need different services in different places. So a poor kid is not always just a poor kid. Right. You could be a poor child, and your issue could be, you don't have food to eat, you don't have clothing, you don't have all those kinds of things. You could also be a poor child who lives in a community that's ravaged and who is subject to trauma, and you have a need for additional wraparound services. So be very careful what you ask for, and that's part of those examinations we've been doing is looking at how do you figure out how to fund an education system that recognizes that there are different realities for different children.
So is there a fund that you guys are bringing up right now that would address that particular reality?
That's why we've been talking about trying to, if it were easy for us to revamp the state's funding formula, it would have been done a long time ago. This is very difficult. In Chicago is the only school district that pays their teacher pension costs. The only one. Right. And the current teacher pension the current Chicago school system problem is because funding was vetoed that was supposed to be that the CPS built their current year budget. So that's why you have the challenges that we're facing right now. So and that's why when I get back to those words like bailout, and I get back to the issue of fairness, things that sound benign and sound innocuous, but really have a very deeper meaning. Yes, young lady right here is waiting.
I don't know, I just wondered, I found this in the cafeteria here, and this is regarding Ronnie. They say, why does Ronnie want CSU? Is this what CSU really needs? Plain and simple, no. Word is Ronnie is using Vallis to take over CSU. Word is Vallis was never going to be a board member. his main goal has always been to be the next president of CSU. Truth is, Vallis has no credentials to be a president of any university. He has a master's degree in political science, and the only education experience he has is in K through 12. Truth is, if Vallis does not become the next president of CSU, Ronald will cut off all future funding. Does that sound like CSU is being held hostage? Does that sound like there are some secret plans being made for CSU? Does that sound like Ron is trying to steal CSU from right under our noses? It does to me, and we cannot let this happen.
Okay.
I don't know who Vallis is, but I kind of.
Paul
have you heard
Paul
of him?
Vallis, he's a new board member here at Chicago State, he's a member of the Board of Trustees here at Chicago State University. Let me say this to you. Chicago State is important to me. This is personal. I can walk to Chicago State from my house. So this is not something that is a theory for me. This is not something that I've heard about. This is something that is important. Back when I worked for former Senate President Emil Jones, this library that we stand on, this is a project that I worked on with these two hands. This place is personal to me. This is a place that I like the fact that my children can come to this campus and walk on this campus, and while it is not technically an HBCU. They can walk this campus and see African Americans going to school every day. They can see them achieving every day. So I know there are folks who are afraid of the things that are going on, with Chicago State. But what's important to note about Chicago State is that Chicago State is not going anywhere. It is resilient, and we will fight for it, and we're going to keep fighting for it.